Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Ria, and in today's video we are going to be picking my March TBR using our trusty TBR prompts. And we are also going to be going through my February reading wrap up. First of all, we are going to get straight into picking our March TBR using the prompts. We have a very extensive TBR at the moment to be getting through, so I have lots of reads I'm excited for. We're going to get straight into it. I think I need to take you through the releases I have coming in March before we get into this, so you guys are aware. We have In Her Own League by Liz Tom Ford, Inamorata, which is a special edition by Ava Reid, I believe, The Wings That Bind, which is book 3 in the Bloodwing Academy series, and finally The Jacid Crown, which is the second and last book in the Jacid Heir Scorched Throne duology. There's one in specific that is a release I'm so excited for. In Her Own League by Liz Tom Ford. I will be picking that book up no matter what. The day it gets released, you best believe that book is going to be in my hands first thing. Let's get straight into it. I've got 2 in my hand. So annoying. Start new series. Lovely. That's great. I've got so many series to start that are new. I think the ones I'm leaning towards most are The Jacid Heir, so The Scorched Throne. I'm so excited for this. I've heard literally nothing but good things. Tribute of Fire, again, same thing. I've heard it's amazing, so I'm looking forward to that. We could do Red Rising or Legendborn, Cash. These are definitely the ones I'm most looking forward to and I'm most likely to pick up. I feel like I need to go with the Jacid Heir. Jacid Heir. Sorry, I don't know why I keep saying. Is it Jacid or Jacid? I don't know. Please correct me if I'm saying it wrong. It's always been ingrained in me that that's the way to say it, and I have everyone else says Jacid, so I don't know. But I think we're going to go with this one. So prompt number 1 is The Jacid Heir by Sarah Hashem. Then we go on to prompt number 2. Ugly cover. I've got so many covers I love. I actually just think anything really simple like Red Rising, The Throne of Broken Gods, A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly. I think anything like this is really not my vibe. They are the ones I don't like out of the ones I've got. We have A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly, The Throne of Broken Gods, Red Rising and Duststorm. I actually don't know what to pick. Something is just keeping me from picking A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly up. I do really want to read both of these, I just don't know which I'm more likely to pick up. Probably Red Rising because it's shorter, but then it's way more out of my comfort zone than The Throne of Broken Gods. I think I'm going to go with The Throne of Broken Gods. It's becoming more anticipated the longer the time between book 1 and book 2 gets. So prompt number 2 is The Throne of Broken Gods by Amber V. Nicole. On to prompt 3. Set in current season. Okay, so it's currently between winter and spring, so it's quite difficult. I feel like nobody really writes books set in that time period anyway. The Oath We Give is set in spring season. So far that's the closest time frame that we have. We are obviously going into March, but for now I think prompt number 3 is going to be The Oath We Give by Monty J. I do think this is the closest we're gonna get, but yeah. And it's also finishing up a series, so I'm very excited for that. Prompt number 4. A cover I love. Great. I think this is going to be the quickest prompt I've ever done. Come on. What is better than that? How stunning. Gorgeous. Of course. Of course. I had to get it on the TBR because I love it. Prompt number 4 is In Her Own League by Liz Tom Ford. I wish I was lucky enough to get an arc of this. I'm so excited. I have seen this book coming since we first got the little breadcrumbs in Play Along. I knew what was happening. Now on to prompt 5. Random letter generator. Great. Random one I found. What? Who are you? The only thing I'm thinking I can do is make a cheeky adjustment or cheeky play and do The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Marion Zapata. The only thing I can think of, unless I spin again, but I do want to read this. The random spinner has left us with no choice. We are going to be picking The Wall of Winnipeg and Me as prompt number 5. And then on to our last prompt. New author. Great, I think I'm going to take this as like a new to me author because I've got loads. We obviously can't do Saboteur or the Twisted Sisters. Not Rachel Reed. We could do Legendborn, Cash, Daggermouth, Avalon Tower, A Tribute of Fire. These are the options I have. They both actually sound so good. I just think the fact that I'm in a fantasy mood does outweigh the fact that I could probably read this faster. I think we're going to go with A Tribute of Fire for prompt number 6. I just think it feels right. I want a fantasy more than I want a romance right now, so I think that's what we're going to go with. Do you see a colour theme going on? Exactly. So for my March TBR, we chose The Jazzed Air, The Throne of Broken Gods, The Oath We Give, The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, Tribute of Fire, and finally In Her Own League by Liz Tomfordy. We have finally managed to pick our March TBR and I'm so excited for it. Let me know which ones you want to see me read. Hopefully you'll be able to read some of them together. For now though, I'm going to hand you over to future me, who is going to take you over my February reading wrap up. It has been a hard week. I filmed the TBR section to this video almost 2 weeks ago now. Last week was crazy. This week I've been ill. Typical. We're going to go through the 5 books that I read in February. I have completely fallen off my reading game. I don't know what is wrong with me. For some reason I've been in the weirdest slump of my life recently. I think 4 of the books I read in February were audiobooks. I read 1 book. I haven't had a 5-star since October with The Wolf King. I don't know what's happened. I genuinely have been in the worst reading state for so long. I want my enjoyment back and I think it's coming back. I have picked up In Her Own League by Liz Tomfordy. I think I'm back, but is it just a 1-book wonder? Like, I know she's always gonna hit for me. Is it just because it's her? I did not have a good month at all. I think the stats are that I obviously listened to 4 audiobooks, read 1. I had 2 romances, 3 fantasies. I had 2 DNFs out of my 5 books. Great. I think my average rating on Fable is like 2.5 stars. 2.8 stars. I feel like I look really pale. I have had a cold, like I said, but it's not been like a really bad flu-y cold where I'm like in bed, all I want to do is sleep. I've been in bed, but I've been like rotting because I can't quite do things, but like the brain fog has been real. Ugh, I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna actually get into the talking part of this video now because I feel like otherwise, do you guys care? The first book I finished, picked up, listened to in February was Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. Everyone says that it's god tier, changed their life, unreal, the best series from her, best trilogy from her. I didn't feel like that. I felt literally no connection to this story whatsoever. I just didn't care. I didn't care for Tessa, I didn't care for Will, I didn't really care for Jem, I didn't care for any of the other side characters. I didn't care for anything in this story, including the plot. It felt boring, it felt lackluster. Half the time I didn't even know what was going on. I think I rated it a 3 star, so it wasn't that bad. I felt zero connection to it, but it was still an okay audiobook. Do you know what I mean? I just didn't feel the connection to this in comparison to what I've seen other people feel. Like, I know so many people were like, this is the best trilogy I've ever read. I rated it a 3 star. I'm glad to have this trilogy over now so I can go back into the Mortal Instruments because I have loved the first 3 books in there and I cannot wait for the next 3. Then listened to the audiobook of City of Souls and Sinners by Kayla Edwards. This is book 2 in the House of Devils series. I have mixed feelings about this book as a whole. I feel like going into it I didn't really care so much because the relationship between Loren and Darian was already formed, and I struggle when that happens. I like when a relationship spans over, in a series, over a few books. That's just a personal issue, because most books are that they get together in book one and they stay together throughout the rest of the series or whatever. I don't know what it is. I prefer a slower burn throughout a series specifically. I still enjoyed it. Obviously that wasn't the main point to this book. He's in some kind of trouble, he's in some kind of trouble, but they can't tell each other. They're keeping secrets from each other. It got on my nerves. I hate miscommunication, and it literally just felt like that. I know there was literally no way they could have told each other, but the miscommunication and the lack of communication between them in this book really got on my nerves. I will say her endings are always very strong. I really enjoy them. I think I preferred the side characters' stories in this, and I had more care for them compared to book one, but I kind of lost interest in Loren and Darian's story. Their entire plot, it just felt repetitive. I rated this a 3-star. I will be going on to the next one, but I think I'll be listening to it at least to begin with. I loved book one. It was a 5-star for me. I don't know what happened from book one. I don't know if it's because I listened to it as an audiobook instead of reading it, or if it's because I left such a long amount of time between book one and book two. But I just don't feel any connection to this series currently. I know we get introduced to 2 more characters in book 3, and I'm looking forward to that. I feel like I may have more connection to them and enjoy them more than the characters we're following, specifically Loren and Darian in this one. I feel like it's such a shame because I really loved them in book 1. I don't know. Hey honey. Read in the month of February was The Blood We Crave Part 2 by Monty J. This is book 4 in the Hollow Boys series. I have mixed feelings about this and part 1. I did expect going into it to absolutely adore and love Lyra and Thatcher's story, but I feel I read them very fast, don't get me wrong. I feel like I read them in one sitting. They are both very short stories. I feel like I didn't connect to them as much as I was expecting because I have loved them in books 1 and 2 before actually getting their story. It was a bit unexpected for me not to love them as much as I was thinking I was, but I did still really enjoy their story. I think I rated it a 4-star, so it's not that low. I will be completely honest, at times I was reading this and I was really into it. I was thinking, yeah, this is so much better than part 1. There were also times where I was just thinking, I really want to get this over. I want to skim read it to get it done because I'm just kind of fed up of their story. It was an odd situation. I don't know whether I loved it and I don't know whether I hated it. I'm also looking forward to The Oath We Give, which is Silas and Coraline. I feel like I'm gonna love them. And then we move on to the DNFs of the month because of course I haven't had a proper read where I've actually finished a book since The Blood We Crave. Throne of Ice and Blood by Marion Blackwood. I read Empire of Flame and Thorns last year. I think it was December last year or November. I actually can't quite remember. I somewhat enjoyed it. It was, I think, a 3-star. Going into book 2, I just felt, I started listening to it again, and for some reason the plot, the writing, the narrators of the audiobook, it was not adding up. It was not hitting for me the way I thought it was going to, because normally I can listen to an audiobook even if I don't like the plot or anything like that. I can listen to an audiobook. I use them for books that I'm not really enjoying so much. It just was not working for me. At one point it just felt like this girl, all she was doing is running into these situations where there are guards. She knows she shouldn't be doing it because she could get caught and in trouble and like, thrown into prison, etc. And she would just do them anyway, and every time there would be some sort of decent outcome and she'd be like, great, and then she'd do it again, and she just would not learn from her mistakes. She didn't really know how to fight, from what I can remember. She just kind of got lucky with these situations, it was getting on my nerves because it was all that was happening, and once I noticed that, I couldn't let it go. The plot felt easy. I don't know. It felt like there's no point, and it felt similar to book one. It didn't feel like there was any real development from book one going into book two and throughout the part that I listened to it. So I did DNF that one. I said DNF at 25%. I genuinely cannot keep going with this series if this girl just keeps running into situations without a plan. It's so poorly written. I was so excited for the series because it was one I'd wanted to pick up for a long time, and then I saw it was going out of print, so I got all the indie editions. Obviously, just a series that isn't meant for me. Give it a go if you want to. I know so many people have loved the books in it, so obviously I'm just one person. And then the last book that I read in February was The Finisher by Runix. I loved The Predator and I enjoyed The Reaper. I loved their story, but then going into The Emperor, I felt like it was just a hassle to pick it up. I wasn't overly eager after book two to pick it up and continue the series, and I felt the same going into this. So I listened to it as an audiobook. It was going so well. It's a very short audiobook, I believe, and I was just flying through it, couldn't put it down, and I was enjoying it more than book three. And then I don't know what even happened. It's like a switch for me, and in the book flipped. It felt like it just completely turned on its heels and just was a different story. I think it's because it went from literally nothing happening to it being so lusty, and I just was like, it's not for me. It really was not. I think it was just the main characters. They both were getting on my nerves, and it's the fact that it went from just nothing to everything, and it was too much. I couldn't handle it. So I DNF'd this at 62%, and I just wrote Another One Bites the Dust. That is it. It has taken me so long to actually get around to finishing this. That was the longest 5-book wrap up for a month of reading that I've ever seen. How have I been talking for 26 minutes? Hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully we can read some of the books we picked for my TBR together this month. We will see. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon in the next one.